Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is a Black Manga Critic. I have not been streaming for a little bit, only a few days. These people came into my apartment to fix some windows. Well, actually, every window in my apartment. So hold on. I did not mute this. I hate when that happens. Ugh. Okay. Again, I'm the Black Manga Critic. Have not been streaming for a while. Just had some, maintenance stuff to deal with in my apartment, moving some stuff around. But we're back, in action in terms of like me, my fiance, and everything like that. And I'm back to YouTube and everything. So I'm kind of glad that I'm kind of coming back with this stream because it's something that I was looking forward to throughout the week. And I've been thinking about Reborn, thinking about the characters, the arcs, the general sort of story, the lessons, all that stuff. And I was really, really happy that I was going to be talking about this with Nakamanga because Reborn is like a battle shonen that's like particularly, I think a manga in general, right? I think it's like just like a manga that is particularly close to you, like it's something that's one of your favorites.
Definitely.
So again, this is going to be a Hitman Reborn discussion, everybody. So whether or not you're here in the live chat or whether you're watching this video just off the cuff, maybe you got it suggested it to you or whatever because you also love Reborn. We're going to be going to a few things. We're going to be going to characters, the arcs, sort of split in the story between the comedy and the sort of traditional battle shonen seriousness. And we're going to go into some specifics, I think, because when you start to talk about manga, you kind of always go into certain specifics. So Nakamanga, where do you think we should start?
Okay, I think a good start, just like to get the discussion rolling, would be the characters about the Vongola family. I guess we can start there with just, I guess, 7 protagonists and maybe also Reborn, and yeah, we can kind of see before the comedy part and the shonen battle manga part, and what do you think about those, I guess?
Okay, cool. I think like when it comes to that split, we talked about this for quite a bit in another stream, this particular thing. But I think like I don't know how many other shonen manga have this kind of component where there's like a marked difference in terms of that, like in terms of like the comedy, right? Maybe Gintama. That's the only one that I can think of that's kind of sort of similar, where it's like very clearly trying to push its its sort of brand of comedy and everything like that. And while I do think that Gintama kind of does that throughout for the most part, like the comedy's pretty much there, I do think that like the beginning is like very comedy heavy, and Reborn is also very comedy heavy. We talked about this, where it almost seemed like it was a sort of gag manga almost. If I had to sort of put like, kind of like a Dr. Slump or something like that. If any of y'all know about like Akira Toriyama's Dr. Slump.
Yeah. So I guess to make the comparison now between Gintama already. So for me, Gintama is like a comedy manga throughout the whole story. Just what the writer was just pushing more later was like more shonen-y, I don't know, to have more fights, to have more like shonen parts, but still, I guess the comedy manga is still like the same. But here in Reborn, we're starting like heavily a gag manga. You can just already say it's a gag manga, and we completely changed the genre to a battle manga. We basically lose the gag part. We still have the quirks and the kind of funny stuff from the characters, Lambo, for example, Tsuna, who's like just a small timid boy and everything. Like these jokes are still, or the running gags are still there, but like the whole gag component, it's just gone. Like also the gag characters, except Lambo, are all gone. Like so like Ipin and all the other everything, like the daily life interactions and the sports stuff. So everything is just lost. So we have here, for me, at least, we have a completely genre switch, which we don't have in Gintama.
Hmm. And I guess I think like yeah, I agree. I think Gintama is pretty much like comedy throughout, and then yeah, right, like Reborn has a very distinct split. I don't. I'm trying to think of a manga that has that distinct of a split, where it veers off course so sharply, um, and but yet right, like it doesn't really hurt it. You know, if anything,
No.
it probably helped Reborn, just because, you know, like while like, you know, gag manga are great. I do think that like at the time that Reborn was being serialized, I don't know how popular gag manga were at that particular point in time. I can assume that they were, but not in like the shonen sense, right? Like to have a shonen, something that's distinctly a shonen manga, but be like very gag heavy at the beginning, and not particularly shonen in that sense. I guess I don't know, like battle shonen, not like just general shonen, because you can have a general shonen manga that's not a battle shonen, but. But I think that like, well, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I guess it also, like, a big factor, I guess, is also like the setup of the whole magazine. You know, so if you just think from the publisher's point of view, you don't put like a whole magazine of full of battle shonens. You know, so when they it depends on how many gag mangas were there and how many battle shonen mangas and which battle shonen mangas. You know, and or well, of course, I guess. We had One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, I guess, the big three at the time. And I guess it's normal that they will not put another battle shonen manga, because the fan base will never grow for this kind of stuff, because big three or the big, well, even so, even if it's not those three, but I guess there were other series then. But it's kind of difficult to grow an audience when you already have this kind of stuff already. Like major series in this kind of genre, you know. So when that's why I think they started with the gag manga. You know, when gag manga were not like really representative or no other gag mangas in the magazine, they just started kind of here. And when the fan base grew and there are a lot of people who liked it, and the series itself got a lot of votes, I guess then they could switch to more serious topics, I guess. But yeah, so it depends. I guess it depends on a lot of factors, you know. So not just like the series at the time in the magazine and everything.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm thinking, at least.
No, I think it's a great point. I don't know. I mean, I remember, because I think for me, right, and this is also interesting. So maybe we can sort of do kind of a, right. I mean, it's tangentially related to this sort of discussion we're having about the comedy and and that split. But like, I remember watching the anime for Reborn before I switched to the manga. So when did I think I switched to the manga when it hit the Milfiore arc. That like, right, like that's when I shifted. But before that, right, like I didn't have the gag manga like stuff. Like I didn't have that initial experience. Initially, it was like about 20 something episodes, I think, of gag anime, basically. Like I guess if you want to call it that, of anime comedy. And it was I think the anime did that a bit better, or at least it was kind of like, right, like it has a space to do that, so it can sort of add certain elements. You know, the shonen kind of feel is still there. Particularly to me, like particularly in the anime, you still get that particular shonen feel. You know, the battles are pretty interesting. I don't know. It kind of felt like, or maybe it felt more like, instead of a gag manga, it felt more like a slice of life anime. I think like that's sort of the difference, and I think that might be why, like, at least for me, I liked it, because I like slice of life manga. I don't mind that stuff, and it was like slice of life manga with powers. You know, so it's like, okay, like that's cool. Like I get this genre, sort of genre plus powers. Like that's great. Plus superpowers. All right, I'll take that. And I just thought that I think the anime had a bit more, you know, and as animes tend to have a bit more space, a bit more room to add particular things, to embellish on certain things, to tweak things, you know? So I felt like the anime did a better job. Like, I feel bad, I guess, like saying this, but I guess I feel, well, no, I'll say the anime had the opportunity to do all these things to make that beginning more appealing, I think. You know, because they had the time to sort of say, okay, look, what's going on with the fan base? How are they responding to the manga chapters? And if we're going to put out an anime for this, what do we do here? Like, how do we shift some things?
Yeah.
You know, so
it's true. It's also I don't know if I think about it now, like I told, it depends on a lot of stuff. But I guess when you need to, good information would be like, when did they announce the anime? Where was the manga at that time? So, and then did they, you know, they could like choose a little more like, yeah, okay, we can stretch this slice of life part, I guess, more out, or we can put it into fewer episodes to keep it short, or because to give a bigger or smaller experience from the early part. But,
all right, give me 1 second. No, I think I just got a knock. Just give me 1 sec.
Yeah, sure.
Mail guy just dropping something off, but I'll be right back. Give me like
sure.
30 seconds.
Yeah, so to keep talking here, it depends on a lot of stuff, but I guess most people got to experience or got to know Reborn as a series from the anime, and I guess that's where the popularity came from for the later parts. So I just kept talking. I just said like I guess most people had the first encounter with Reborn from the anime, and that's why later the popularity to the mangas like came back when the anime finished, or when they hit the last episode, I guess, and then they wanted to know what's happening, to continue the story, and also they swapped to the manga. That's why I guess why the manga was in the Western world like really popular, but not from the manga itself, but a lot of people swapped from the anime to the manga later.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think I'm definitely gonna look into a bit more now that we sort of like discussed it a little bit. Like that always sort of interests me. Like you know, like again, one thing, right? We talked about this with Yu Yu Hakusho, right? At the beginning, right? The beginning of the anime is to me like markedly well, no, it is markedly different from the manga. I think some people are kind of like, oh, there were just a few things here and there. Here were these stories. Here were these things that Yusuke had to do. But like those things to me are crucial for the Yu Yu Hakusho manga and Yusuke as a character and how we know him, how we identify with him, and then right. And in the anime, you don't really get those trials. You get more of like it's very condensed. It's right because they want to get to the other stuff. They want to get to like the battle shown and stuff as quickly as
where
possible.
the anime will shine because of the movement, the sound, everything, where that's the anime can score really score on the battles, and but on those first stories, like I guess the anime is kind of weak or on kind of on the same level like the manga. I don't know, the anime doesn't add anything more, I guess.
Gotcha. That's interesting. I guess like I don't know.
Reborn was kind of the same.
Yeah.
Because like I think I need to check where I had the page here. I don't know if they have like the chapter numbers. Okay, yeah. Manga chapter 1 to 61. So that was more than a year of chapters of the comedy stuff, and they compressed it into like what is here.
Probably like 26 episodes or something like that.
Yeah, like we are 25, and later on we have more again, like 1 to 19, 27 to 33, and 66 to 73.
And are those the manga chapters?
No, they're the anime episodes.
With the anime in terms of what? In terms of like
the first part, the comedy part.
Okay, so the comedy part for the episodes.
Yeah.
There are so you're saying there are like 70?
No. So
yeah.
I guess in the anime they mixed the stuff a little bit.
Yeah, they compressed it a bit. Like because I remember, like, to me at least, pretty much everything before Suna activates like his hyper dying will mode is like comedy. I mean, there's still like some, seriousness there and everything like that, because he does have to fight certain people, and he has to fight. Right before that, we still get a pretty cool battle against I forgot what his name was. Makuto's sort of like proxy, I guess, or like the person that was sort of in place of him. Like everyone's like, right, who's kind of like a red herring, I guess.
Oh yeah, Lancha, big ball. No,
Lancha, is that it, right?
Yeah, just they think first they think he's Mukuro, but when they defeat him, he just admits, I'm not him,
Yeah, and we get it, and it's like even that battle, like I enjoyed that battle. Like when I in the anime, I thought it was great, and I feel like when I reread that in the manga, I thought the manga did a pretty great job with that, just because battles with like projectiles and stuff like that, or weapons and stuff, tend to be great in either medium, whether it's manga or anime. I think they just tend to, like, battles tend to work themselves out, I guess, and they always tend to look nice and everything. But like for me, like mentally, like before we found out who right, like before that battle with Makuto, that everything before that was like very much so like light Reborn. It was brighter. Even the anime, like I think the anime was generally brighter. Like when at that point. And then after that, it was just like the tones were a bit darker. With everything, even like there could be sunlight out and the tones would still be darker. Like it was just like, I think there was maybe like one episode where it was particularly bright after that, where they have to do their sort of I think it was like the trials, and like they had to fight the Arco Beleno, right? Like they had they had to fight Reborn, and then they got stomped out. And I think they were like on a beach or something like that. I think that's where like it went down. But it was like, it was a weird kind of episode. But anyways, I guess my point is sort of like, even with the anime, I think the anime was very, like the animators were very like made like a mental note, like make things particularly lighter in the earlier episodes, like even the colors and like the lighting. And then once we shift to that Makuto fight and Suna activates the hyper dying will, everything is like the colors are a little bit muted, like not super muted, but muted enough to where there's like a noticeable difference, to at least for me.
I guess you could somehow like say like Mukuro was inside the building. This is like really dark character, and when everything's really dark, I guess, in there, and when Suna like gets into the hyper dying will and gets his gloves and everything, he gets his hope back, and he's like shining hope in this fight, so, and that's when he particularly is really bright. That's also the flames and everything, and and later on it's like from there on, basically maybe not Mokuro, but basically for every arc after, you can say they fight, or they stand in front of this destruction, basically, like either way, the Varia come and finish them to take over the Vongola family, or Millefiore is destroying the future, already killed Suna and everything, or Millefiore later come back to the past, and they always face like destruction. But before there is no real consequence, if it's like Suna wants to help at the volleyball game. You know, if they lose, I guess the game later. I don't remember clearly, but you know, there are no consequences at all, anything. So it's the tone are really, really, really light in comparison. You know, so,
yeah.
But that's kind of the thing too, from the comedy and the genre. It's like two different worlds, and I guess it's normal that the tones are different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I want just to say to Gott up there in the chat, I didn't have, or still don't have any problems at all for the chapters. You know, it's not rough at all for me. I really enjoyed the first 60 chapters when you get introduced to the characters, and it's like really funny and really lighthearted. And I embraced the characters, I guess, too. I really like all the characters from like the Vongala Primo, everything, all from Tuna's family, you know. And I really embraced them because they were introduced so lightheartedly.
And I think like this is like one of you know when you have a moment where I don't think, and I'm pretty sure this is not just me, because like I'm not, you know, the only person that feels particular emotions and stuff like that. But I think this is one of those manga where I wish that I had read it first. Like I wish that I had read the manga first and then watched the anime. Like that's kind of how I feel about it, because I think that the manga does like and like what you're talking about, right, with the 60 sort of chapters. Because for me, when I went back and read those sort of 60 chapters, it was like, man, I just had hyper dying will in the brain, right? It was just like, when am I gonna see this Akira Amano like amazing like art? You know, like when am I gonna see that? Like when am I gonna see that like amazing art? Like, and even like I just kind of felt bad, because I was like, man, like I agree. Like I think the characters are phenomenal. And I think mangaka that are right, like that are just great at writing characters, you know, they'll get the battle shown and stuff. They'll be able to do that stuff. Like they'll be able to get the battle mechanics and everything like that. But I think like the characters are really important, especially for this manga, because at least for me, it's really like about it's about the characters, like it's about what these characters do, how these other characters respond, become, you know, and how they sort of connect after the fact, you know. And I think that's one thing I really like about this manga. But I like Ipin's an awesome character, Lambo, you know, the gang, the whole gang, right? Like, you know what I mean? Hibari, Gokudera, Ryohei, you know, they're all like man, I'm forgetting the Yamamoto, right? Like I'm forgetting about like you know, I'm like how to forget that. But these characters are all awesome, and I think like they work, and I think it's also why they work later on. Like I think like there's a way in which like unless you have that like sort of lighthearted, you know, you have particular tones and stuff like that, the way the relationships that the characters sort of have with one another and the way that they're bonded don't make sense. Like they wouldn't make as much sense, and it wouldn't be as interesting, I don't think. Like I like that you know, Gokudera seems really like way more intense, you know, and that adds to the comedy. You know, he's just like taking this whole Vongola thing super seriously, and everyone's just like, yo, we're in school, like we're just trying to play baseball,
especially because it's like really over the top, that he used like real dynamite, I guess. Like from the first meeting of him, it just like throws dynamite everywhere. It's like in free, like, what the fuck are you doing? Because, like, we're in school here and you're just crazy. And another thing, you know, it's like that's what yeah, that's especially what motivated the character, or why I like the characters. You know, everything, like it's like really like what I can compare to this, like Hero Academia just did, like, for me the same thing, not comedy, but they lightheartedly introduced the main group. You know, with Deku entering the school, and you have also school life there. It's like superhero stuff, yeah, sure, but the characters are lighthearted, you know, when they have like the school festival, and you know, it's like also no consequences there, you know. So gets kind of the same thing there and very similar. But later on, also Reborn, they lose like the, you know, like Uni, for example.
Oh yeah.
You know, she's like really, really important to the story, everything. But I don't really care that much about her, you know. I just care like, okay, she shouldn't be used for evil plans. That's basically all what I care about.
Oh,
And that's because like it's like heavily battle shonen, like really heavily, and that's, you know, that's why I love the first part so much, because I can embrace the characters and get to know the characters. Because later on it's lost for me.
I gotcha. I will say that I think that like, yeah, I agree. I like agree somewhat, right? I think like Reborn could have benefited from like what Horikoshi does with My Hero Academia, where, you know, it's like very intense arc, back to school life, very intense arc, back to school life, very intense arc, back to school life. And I like that because, you know, it's a battle shonen manga that also has like slice of life moments. And I think that's what makes it so strong. I think a lot of people sometimes don't particularly like that stuff, but I love that stuff. If My Hero Academia didn't have that stuff, I wouldn't be nearly as much of a fan of it as I am. You know, like that whole like you know, substitute so like teacher kind of thing, like, oh, we're gonna be these teachers and we're gonna like teach you, you know, like that stuff was like, I love that. Like it was great. It had the right mix of, you know, comedy, lightheartedness, emotion, but also like, you know, certain serious moments that we could take seriously. Because there's been a consistent like mixture of character growth within these intense arcs and the like just like slice of life. Let's, you know, like dorm and do all this stuff in all those chapters. You know, I feel like and so yeah, I think like Reborn could have benefited from that if we just had like way more like, hey, you know, what's going on at school, or, you know, or whatever. And I feel like Reborn kind of expanded a lot, and
you jump from one arc to the other. Like at the end of the Varia arc, Tsuna gets shot, or Reborn gets shot by the 10-year bazooka by mistake, and he just disappears. You know, there's no 10-year Reborn coming back, and that's when the future arc was launched. You know, they just straight jump from the Varia fighting arc into the future fighting arc. You know, so there's nothing in between that, or not much. So, and that's kind of why like the later characters I didn't care much. Yeah, for like John Boy, like there are amazing characters like Xanxus and Squalo. I really like Squalo and Byakura. They're, for example, as the best. Yeah, I guess it's his name, and like really amazing characters. But yeah, they're like, I don't know, the love as a reader to become a real fan of the main protagonist or new introduced characters who hang around more is just a little bit difficult sometimes. If they're not really cool or really mind-blowingly good, the characters are, I guess, a little bit lost. Or just there.
I agree. And I guess that kind of like transitions into sort of like another thing that we wanted to talk about, the characters, and just like, you know, how we feel about certain characters. Are the characters that we particularly like, you know, and sort of connect to in a certain, like on an emotional kind of level, you know, and when I say emotional, just like, you know, do they make you laugh? Do they make you like, you know, happy? Do they make you sad? Whatever, you know. And then characters that you just particularly don't like. And I think, you know, like you mentioned Uni, and like, so like, is Uni like a character that you generally are just like don't like, or you just like what's the word, indifferent, I guess, when it comes to Uni?
For example, Uni, yeah, it's kind of indifferent, you know. It's not that I don't like her. She's also part of the Arcobaleno. She's succeeding one of the Arcobalenos, and she's like the main Arcobaleno of the group. And she has importance in the story, definitely, you know, and I care about what happens to her, that she doesn't fall into evil hands, or Byakuya doesn't finish his plan and everything, and she swaps sides from the bad side to the Vongola and everything, and she's important, definitely, but she as a character, you know, if she later stays with Tsuna and the group and stays there and joins the next battles after, or if she just sits back in her chair and drinks a cocktail, I don't know, I don't care, you know, but you know, but yeah, I care about the importance of the story arc, I guess, in her, but she as a character is like indifferent.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm trying to like, who is you know, and I think part of this has to do with giving the characters room to do stuff, like to be themselves, to, I don't know, interact in an organic way, and right, and that a lot oftentimes can be a weakness of battle shonen particularly, right, where you have, you know, you move from battle heavy arc to battle heavy arc to battle heavy arc, and the only real sort of character development comes from battles, and maybe like one conversation with like another character, you know, or something like that, you know, some conversation that, like, you know, holds weight and is very important to the protagonist or the protagonist team or whatever, you know, something like that. And I think that, like, that's why for me, that last arc in Reborn worked so well. I thought it was great. I actually really liked that last arc in the Reborn manga. I thought it was pretty good, actually, for me, because it kind of went back to, like, it wasn't, you know, like, it wasn't, we're in this random place, we got to deal with this parallel, you know, we got to deal with this, you know, with these larger super, like, we have to deal with these larger than life characters in the final arc, but it's not really about, like, this guy who's been sort of lording over everything since, like, the beginning or whatever, you know, even since before, like, Suna awakens or whatever. And it's like, right, like, with, like, when we look at the let me give it, like, an example, right? When we look at, like, the sort of Mil Fiore, like, sort of arc, right, with, like, Byakuren, and that's a crazy, like, larger than life, like, all of these things are really, really important, and they sort of take the place of, like, character interactions and stuff like that. And there's even a way in which that arc sort of uses the kind of excuse of, like, oh, well, these characters already know each other because I've traveled to the future. So we don't really have to show that particular growth because, hey, it's the future. That growth already happened over the, you know, this many years ago or whatever. Which is, like, you know, it's neat, but it's also like, And then, like, this last arc is like, all these groups have to work together. We even get to see the arc of Baleno. We know a bit more about the history. We see Suna interacting with all these other characters. Like, and I don't know why, but I feel like, right, when Reborn and Suna are sort of having that conversation, where Suna decides that he's going to save Reborn, even if Reborn doesn't feel like he can save himself. And it's like, that to me was one of the most poignant moments of Reborn. It's one of my favorite moments. If I had to, like, pick a top 5 moments of Reborn, that would be, like, one of my top 5 moments, because it was so good, and it was very much so, like, it really harkened back to the beginning of the series. It really harkened back to, like, all those conversations that Suna would have with, you know, his teammates and Reborn, and, like, I don't know. I just feel like that last arc did a much better job. Like, even, like, the interaction between Arco Baleno, like, with the interaction between, like, between, like, Phone and Skull is the name, or right? Like, even that interaction was, like, interesting, because it's sort of like they emoted. It was like, it was interesting. It was, like, legit. Like, you could tell, like, there had been, like, there was some history there, and even and the history was sort of, like, enacting itself in those battles. Like, it was, I don't know. I just thought the last arc was very good, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I also enjoyed the last arc. I was a little bit surprised about this sudden ending, because I was just reading week by week, but I didn't know that this was the last chapter, you know. But so I was a little bit surprised that it like ended there. But the last arc in the whole, it was like really great. It's not like I told, it's not random at all. It's like everything is somehow connected. You know, the Vindici, you know, the guys, the bad guys, I guess, in the arc there, or not even the bad guys. You know, they are also just trying to do something against Checkerface there, and everything. And they already showed up when they imprisoned like Mukuro. You know, like in this after the comedy arc. You know, they already showed up there. Just grabbed Mukuro and imprisoned him there. You know, it's nothing random at all. All the stuff which is happening there was already seen in the series, and just slowly they all the stuff connect. You know, the Arcobaleno and the rings, the Vongora rings, and everything. Then the Trinisette or something. You know, I don't speak Italian, but the everything like was revealed slowly in the series. And for me, this last arc was like the summit of the mountain. You know, everything just came down to solve the mysteries there. And one of the strongest point for me is like it's not even solved yet. You know, just like the ending when Suna like decides to help Reborn to free him there. You know, we don't even get a solution, so every reader can see for themselves. That's something like a real big point for me.
Yeah, and I think like, and I feel like one strength when it comes to, and this is weird because normally I have an issue with what I'm about to sort of talk about, but like again, like if we're talking about sort of like characters, like Suna is like a character that I don't know why, but I just love him as a character. Like he like if we're talking about characters that that we particularly like, and just maybe just kind of like how they're related to arcs and stuff like that. Like Suna's just a character that just I don't know why, but he just works so well. He kind of reminds me of, you know, and they have a similar like aesthetic, right? Like a similar hairstyle, even stuff like that. What's his name? Senna Kobayashi, I think is his name, from I Shield 21. The main yeah. You know, and they look really similar, and they have a very similar temperament. So like, oh, they're very timid, but when the chips are down, they like break through whatever like shell it is that's kind of, you know, stopping them from being the best like type of people they can be. And Suna just works so well as a character like that because it's not like Suna is by himself, and every time he does something, it's like he's working by himself. Anytime he sort of breaks through, it's always because of his connections with other people. It's never just like, oh, I'm doing this battle against this massive villain, and I'm just gonna gain this power by myself because reasons. It's like Suna's like very much like a representation of like the importance of like community and the importance of having a friendship. Like, and I know this like happens with Shonen, but like Suna does such a phenomenal job as that. I think that's something that like I think is underrated with him as a character. Like a lot, you'll see a lot of other shonen, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna like find it within myself to gain this random power and then defeat the enemy or whatever. But like Suna, it's not even that he finds it within himself. It's like confidence in himself, but that confidence comes from his connections with everyone. It's always like, I gotta do this. Like not like I have to do this for people, but like these people are actually in the vicinity, and like they are helping me get through these things. Like, and I think that's like, I don't know why, but like Suna is like a positive sort of example of the like friendship, like, you know, trumps every bad thing.
That's true. That's true. Well, like I told, it's like a common theme in the shonen genre, I guess, battle genre. It's like always a sense of community, but like I guess for Reborn, you have like a really strong message there, especially because it's always the Vogura family and everything. You know, it's like huge value on the community there, and always everybody does. It's not only Tsuna, you know. We have later on. I forgot the name. The other with the earthen rings.
Oh, the like Simone family, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's also the same thing there. Like when Tsuna's partner there later also has his family, and is also having for this sense of community there. You know, it's always the families. It's like the Varia. Xanxus is putting the Varia together. Byakuya is pulling his kind of evil family together. I know. You know, it's always like it's a really strong topic there in about a whole series. You know, and you can clearly see it from every group. I think that's also a strong point there.
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, right? It's like there aren't really, right, like, and that's one thing, right? Like, there's like, and that's why, like, Byakuya is also one of my favorites, because he's such a deceptive kind of character. He's like, right, like we kind of understand certain things. Like, we understand that he's kind of like very cocky. He's clearly very intelligent, brilliant, right? Like, and right, like he figures out how to sort of like, is borrow the right word, but like kind of like borrow the experience and intelligence and all those things of his parallel selves, right? So that like he's like this ridiculously strong individual in that particular universe that he's sort of like situated in, and in that arc. But like he also really is just like putting together his family, and he genuinely he genuinely, like, you know, I think at some level he genuinely cares about like these people that he's interacting with and stuff like that, and everything, like, and he has fun in certain ways. Like, even when he's battling Tsuna, he's like, you know, puts on this, like, you know, it seems like a crazy kind of, you know, sadistic kind of smile, because he's like, I'm having fun, I finally get to go all out, but it's like, I think genuinely, like, Byakuya is just like looking for people that he can like interact with on not like, yeah, maybe an equal playing field, but I don't even think it's that. I think like that's like I don't even think it's that. I think he just genuinely wants to interact with people.
No.
And what do you think about that? Like, how do you feel about like Byakuya as a character? Because I really love him. And I think like,
yeah, I really also, well, I have my doubts, I guess, first, because like when first they enter, they just go to the future not by mistake, but to see what's up with Reborn, I guess, and there they meet him for the first time. Like, he took control over there, and first I had like my problems there, but more and more, like, he seemed kind of random for me. Like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, random villain, you know. But later on, like, he had like this deep connection with, like, also with the Arcubaleno, and had the other rings there and everything. And he also, when it blew all over the top when he like had control over all the timelines or parallel universes at the same time and everything. Like, it really accelerated like really, really quickly about how strong and powerful and how crazy he basically is. And that's when I kind of like learned to like him, you know, because like I really like over the top villains, you know, like really crazy and everything, like super powerful and everything. That's when I learned to like him. And I don't have like a clear picture now for the end fight with Tsuna anymore, I guess. Too long ago, but
are you talking about the when he fights against Byakuya, that last fight? Oh yeah, when Primo Vongola like unlocks like his like full potential, I guess, at that point in the story, and like he's fighting against Byakuya, and like he's basically like getting beat pretty badly. And then Primo comes and helps him out, and then he unlocks his full power, I guess, in terms of the gloves or whatever. And then Byakuya has like sort of like another kind of power up, but really it's just like a power up that kind of puts him like closer to Suna, but not really, because then Suna just like blasts him away with the X burner. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, like and again, right? Like when it comes to these characters, I feel like, right, that's the thing, right? Like Byakuren is basically a character to me who becomes like corrupted by his discovery, right? Like it's like he's a lonely person, I think, in a lot of ways, and like his intelligence, everything that's sort of like, you know, his awareness of certain things makes him kind of isolated from everybody else. And then he discovers, oh, like there are other parallel universes, and I can like, you know, become stronger if I interact with my other selves and blah blah blah. And like at the end, he's basically alone, right? Like he's basically alone, and Suna has Primo behind him, right? The blood of the Vongola, like that whole lineage behind him, his family that he's put together himself, with the help of Reborn, right? Reborn, like all these other individuals, and like it's a real like, and again, it's like a juxtaposition, right? Where it's like Suna has everybody, and Byakuren really only has himself, because he has his parallel selves, but they're just him. Like and I think that like that's what I like. Like it, like community is all over Reborn in every single battle, you know, and like that to me was really, really cool, because even in that fight, Byakuren's like, oh man, it's so bright. Like he really sort of like, that's why like when you see him at the end and Suna asks for his help, it's almost like Byakuren's not like he's kind of a different person. Like it's like you can even his interaction with like some of these people, like it's a little different. Like he seems a little warmer, just a little bit, nothing like crazy, but I think even he's sort of affected by the like not only Suna and just getting like his, you know, his ass beat, right? But everything about like everything that sort of like that makes Suna and makes, you know, his and community and all that stuff. Like it's like even he can't fight against the story. He can't fight against the themes. Even he can't do that.
No, it's true. It's true. There's like, it's like kind of always the villain like always ends up alone, you know, and also because like also Uni changed sides, you know. You have like even there like people leaving him, not just because Suna and his or the Vongola family beat up his colleagues there or his friends or family, and they become incapable to do anything anymore, but also just like, oh no, this is stupid, you know, I'm gonna leave you, I'm just gonna join the other side, you know. Even like this in both ways, Byakuren ends up alone, you know. So it's very clearly that here is there. So John, by the family names, I just looked them up. It's like the Gigli, or I will just rape the Italian language here, but the Gesso Familia and the Giglio Nero Familia. That's already the names.
And then like, I don't know. I mean, like, are there, like, is there like a character in Reborn that like is like your personal favorite? And like why is that character your personal favorite?
Okay, well, when we already no problem. When we already talk about that, we could go from let's just work us through the Vongola family, you know, and we can just drop in. Yeah, this one is my favorite or something.
You can do that too. Yeah.
So I got, because we wanted to start with the characters, but we already went over.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So okay, let's start with Tsuna. So for me, Tsuna was, like I could told, because of the similarities with iShield 21, and I really like this kind of character. Also, Hero Academia with Deku, you know, like this really weak and whiny, not whiny, but like weak protagonist, and he needs to improve. I like this kind of story development. That's why I really like Tsuna there, and also at the first, all the interactions are really funny, especially because in the first chapter he already, like, I guess it's the first chapter, he already tells his love interest to Kyoko, you know, in the very first chapter already, and everything's like really funny, and I really adored him. And especially later, like you already talked before, when Tsuna really develops to this kind of guy who will step up when he needs to step up, and he will pull not even his weight, he will pull every weight, well, all weight which is there, and he will pull through, you know. And that's kind of the guy. This development there is really great for me. That's why I like Tsuna there.
Yeah. For Tsuna, like, again, that sort of idea, and even like his progression, I think like it just makes sense. One, because you know he doesn't age much like throughout the series, right? It's like there's the sort of like pseudo time skip, but it's not really a time skip because it's just like it's just the arc. Like this is the thing, he has jumped into a future, and it's like, okay, you know, we got the, but like Suna's very much so still like, you know, a young like teenager who's still in school, who still has to deal with all these everyday things. But like the thing that I love about him is that, right, like he sort of shows you that you can be what I like him in that sort of archetype, right? Like that, right? That you can be a character that is sensitive and cares about people and you know, like a person that cares about your friends and cares about people and is sensitive to individuals, and right, but when the chips are down, you're like, okay, like the gloves are like, right, like quite literally on, right? And it's like, let's go. And I really appreciate that. I really love that about Tsuna. And like, what I also like is that they gave him that instance, like that sort of like relationship with his father, that kind of estrangement, that kind of, it was weird. And I love that, like, it's not like Tsuna does, you know, goes through these battles in hyper dying will mode and then forgets about everything that he's been through. It's like these things he still carries this stuff with him. Like, right, like when you see the last arc where he fights his father, and his father basically beats him that first time, right? Like he just wipes the floor with him. Mm-hmm. And then the second time, Tsuna like really goes in and he's like, all right, like, yes, you're my father, but I gotta take your butt down. You know, and like it's really, really cool. I love that. That's one of my favorite battles in the manga. And it's just great because when he comes out of hyper dying will mode, he still has this sort of like, right, the demeanor's still there, but he's still very much so like sensitive, kind, Tsuna, but he's still like, I'm gonna win next time. And it's just really, really cool. Like I really like that because there's a progression like there with Tsuna that I like. I like his character progression. It's like at first it's like, okay, when I get out of hyper dying will mode or a dying will mode, it's like it's still him, but he still learns these lessons. But in that moment, it was really cool because it was like a mixture of the two. Like even though he was clearly out of hyper dying will mode, he still had that like kind of like bravado almost, and it made sense because it's like, yo, Tsuna's like a teenage boy. Like all teenage boys have some semblance of like, you know, bravado or whatever, you know, like so I thought that was pretty great. I really love Tsuna's character.
No, I really, you can, if you compared like first Tsuna and like in the last arc, you can definitely see like he became the boss, you know, he became the Vongola deity. Even so, he didn't lose anything from the beginning. He just gained so much on the whole series. And that's why like he's one of my favorite characters.
Same.
So for let's talk about the power. John Boy told about the power there. What kind of power? Where did you like Tsuna's powers the most, I guess?
Ooh, in terms of powers, ooh, that's tough. I mean, you know, and especially the manga, Tsuna's always like beautifully drawn when he's in hyper dying will mode. It's just like, and then when you get a color page, it's like, it's always amazing. That's probably my favorite, actually. I mean, just when he's using the hyper dying will, No. That's a lie. I love when he sort of sheds all of his equipment and stuff. But I think if I had to pick all the powers that I love, it's like when he uses the like the cambio forms when it is with Natsu. It's like yeah, and like I love that where like he's it's because it's cute because it's like this cute little lion. And the lion's like has like his ability. It's just it's really cute. I think that's my favorite. That's probably my favorite power from Suna when he like takes line and like it forms like a cape and all these other things and the shield. Like it's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, I agree there. The cameo format there is like really powerful there.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
0 point breakthrough. Yeah, that's also well. Either way.
Zero. Yo, that was incredible. Like, yo, how did you feel when you saw that for the first time? When you saw that where he just like and he did that and that was introduced during the Xanxus part, right? Give me 1 sec. So I think someone's at the door.
No problem. I'll just check that really fast. 0 point breakthrough. First time. When did it? Where's the? Let me see.
More or less. Oh, okay. Probably they have some when they do put it.
It checks out. I'm not really sure when he used it first time. But either way, like, I feel kind of, for me, Reborn, the whole series had like the kind of, like the amazing development from the powers from everybody, I guess.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, but
so I revealed it while fighting Xanxus. Yeah, it's like really early, but the 0 point breakthrough gets to also. It's not like only the gloves and the exploring learns new techniques and everything and the cape and everything, but the 0 point breakthrough also how should I say develops and improves. You have later on also more revised editions. But I guess what I also said when I'm gone, like, I guess for the powers, it's always for every character. It's like they just increase in coolness, I guess, because it's always first they only have their gear and just using the dying willpower, I guess, and then everybody gets more equipment. Then they get the rings and the boxes, and then they use this. Then they get the more gear, and they have like they can open the primo or the first family's boxes, where everybody gets their animal,
Yep.
and then they use this to get new guy. Yeah, so there's the clear line of development for everyone and the same. And I guess it's just for every character it gets always cooler and cooler and cooler and cooler, So I guess it's really clear where kind of from the powers are. Because I don't think any character decreases in, I guess, in coolness for the development there.
No, yeah, and I think that's where Akira Amano's sort of like storytelling, and well, not even storytelling, but like the ingenuity, I guess, like comes into play. Like it's something that like I really love about the series. Like all the powers are really interesting. They're very cool. They sometimes they're kind of joke. They're kind of a little bit of a joke in like a deliberate way. Like with Ryohei's like animals like a kangaroo, and like that's really funny because like kangaroos are known to like are supposedly known to like box or something like that, or this there's like that kind of like trope or whatever. But like stuff like that is funny. Like Hibari has like handcuffs because he's basically like a disciplinarian and everything. It's just like stuff like that is like it's really funny. It's clever. It's cool. I really appreciate that about the abilities. Like they are very distinct, and it's almost like it's very Oda-esque, I think. Like in the way that like Oda could present an ability, and you're like, this is weird. You know, like I remember when I first saw Gear Fourth, and I was like, this is a weird looking thing. And then like after a week, after rereading the chapter like 15 times, I was like, this is really cool. Like I was like, this is really, really cool. Like I grew to enjoy it and really appreciate the aesthetic and everything like that. And it was a similar thing with like Reborn, but like sometimes you'd see like characters do a particular thing and you're like, is this like is she for real? Like, is she for real with this thing? And then like as the story goes on, you're like, this is awesome. Like this is what makes these characters like this is why they're memorable, you know?
First it's kind of like, for an example, the kangaroo, or even Hibari with his hedgehog, you know. It's like first it's kind of goofy. But when they learn to use them and use them like in real fights and everything, like I'm just like with an open mouth, because I'm like, wow, damn, that's so cool what they're doing there, you know, like that's why it's like it's not like, yeah, a new technique and it's great and he just one shot and won someone, or yeah, it's just like an old technique upgraded, you know. It's like something really new every time. It's something really new, and that's why it's like super memorable again. And yeah, if you compare it to One Piece, I kind of somehow agree and somehow disagree, because if I think in One Piece, like the powers are not developing anymore somehow. We are kind of now at the point where it's just a fruit, devil fruit, and some power, you know, and haki, you know. And now we just have like the increased, the released form, you know. It's like still a devil fruit, but it's not released. But you know, it's kind of at a point, we arrived at a point where it's nothing really new, you know. And here we always get something new. It's like a new technique. Before we only had like the weapons, then we have the boxes where they can get new powers and everything. Then we have the animal who they fight together, you know. For example, Yamamoto has like the dog. He has like two animals. No, he has the bird first, and later also the dog, which also uses a sword. You know, like they have like a combination kind of going there. You know, it's like always something new. And also later when they Kamiya forma, when they find it when the animals. So well, yeah, the Kamiya forma, yeah, you know. But so everything, it's for me, it's always something new until the end.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like yeah, like in terms of like the abilities and stuff, it's still pretty cool, because like I think some people really disliked like Suna when he sort of sheds his gear and like is just like straight like hyper dying will flames, no, you know, accessories or anything like that. And I personally like love that moment. I thought it was phenomenal. But I think there are a lot of people who were just like, that's it. Like, you know, he just has more fun. I'm like, I mean, yeah, but like, I mean, like it's not about like, you know, the aesthetic, right? Because like the aesthetic is what makes all these other like fights and makes Suna look cool and everything like that. But it's like, I love that moment. Like it was like power is not just like about like the accessories and what you're using and how you look and everything like that. It's like confidence and like, you know, believing. Like it I don't know, it was so cheesy, but it was so good. It was like a really good cheesy, you know.
Yeah.
If I had to like explain it, like it's just a really, really good cheesy, you know. Like it was about believing in yourself and, you know, not needing, you know, these tools to go through life and do these things and da 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 da. It just worked on a lot of levels for me.
That's true. That's something a lot of shonens don't do or can't do. For example, it's impossible that you do a fight where Luffy, for example, just says, "Yeah, I'm gonna fight this fight now without my Gum powers." You know, it's impossible to do in this case. But you have a possibility to have a character who just like sheds over everything and just does his thing without the gear, just to prove the point. Also, that's also really great story development for me there. Because you still have the you still Tsuna developing everything, and yeah, it's really great, like you told. Even though it's cheesy, yeah, I agree. Yeah. But it's something to enjoy, I guess.
Because it's like, right, like there's good cheesy, right? There's like whatchamacallit, like the last sort of like those last few chapters of Naruto where Sasuke is basically like talking about how he felt throughout the series. And then, we realize that like Sasuke has basically been feeling the same way that Naruto has, only he's decided to like, shove it down, until, so he can ignore it or whatever. But it's like, and those the panels, everything like that, all that stuff is like, it's cheesy in like the meaning and what it's trying to do, but it's such a good cheesy because it's like man, like it just works, it just works, and it works because of the story, because right, like with Suna, it works because Suna has consistently had to he's consistently had to be like, okay, I got to get this help from this person. I got to get this help from these people. I got to depend on these people. I got to do all this stuff. And in that moment, Suna is just like, I'm the leader. I'm taking this on. And I need to have the strength to be able to do that. And it's like Natsu, I'm sorry, buddy, but you gotta chill on the sideline for this one. Like it's just so good. It was just so good, and I don't know. It's a good cheesy again.
It's something you can expect that in this case, like the character will arrive at this point where he will stop to depend on everything. Here, it's like with Tsuna, it's like really extreme that he even shuts off all his gear and everything, and he's just himself. And so you kind of can expect it, That's why I think it's like kind of cheesy to, it's coming. Definitely, it's coming, but it's still, even so you already know like this character will arrive there, you just enjoy it and you can see it, and in combination with the art and everything, it, like you said, it just works, and that's amazing. But just we already went far off again. To get back to the characters fast, we should just do the characters fast, I guess, and then we can sway around it again.
So who do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, Gokudera. What do you think?
Oh yeah, Gokudera is one of my favorites as well.
For me, it's like the least favorite.
Oh no! Oh man, I don't know. Okay, so I think like he's probably, and we're talking about like just like the family, right? Like the crew. Yeah. He's probably like my third favorite if I had to pick. Actually, he's my third favorite. Right, like Suna's my favorite, then Hibari, then Gokudera. Okay. But that's just like three for the three, right? For the three. But Gokudera is awesome because like he takes it seriously from the jump, right? Like it's almost like he's the character that like understands that at any time everything could go left. Like everything could just be like a problem, and I think like that's why he's great, because you find him as ridiculous at first, but then when the stuff actually does go left, you're like, oh, okay, Gokudera, we see you, we understand, we're sorry. I apologize for thinking that you were a ridiculous, like kind of joke character, like who's using dynamite all over the place. But I really appreciate him for that because he's always at that level. It's never like, oh, like he doesn't. It's not like he never understands the seriousness of a particular situation, and and he never abandons, you know, Sooner. He's never not there. It's always like you can always count on Gokudera. Like I really appreciate that about his character, and it's like constant. It's a constant. It's not like, oh, can't count on him now because you know, for whatever reason. No. It's like Gokudera is always, even if he's not the right, he doesn't have to be the strongest. He doesn't have to be given the title second in command. He doesn't need any of that stuff. He places it upon himself to protect the family, to protect Suna, to do everything that he has to do for things to be okay. Like I really appreciate that about his character.
Well, I agree on all your points, but no, it's not a but like he's except for Mokuro, I guess Mokuro. He's the only one with a mafia background, when I remember correctly. He just comes and tries to defeat Suna to become the Vongora deity. And then when he gets clapped, he just decides to be like his second hand man. And from down, later it is never told anymore. But like you said, he is dependable. He is the second in command there. He's Tsuna's right hand man, and he earns this spot 100%. I agree on everything there. But for me, why I don't have him in my top 3 is because it's really simple. It's really basic. Because I don't enjoy his fighting style that much.
I got you. And I do. And I think that's why I have him in my top 3. Because I like his fighting style. I don't know. It's weird because like I definitely, you know, like, I mean, there's a reason why Hibari is number 2, right, over Gokudera, and like Gokudera is not number 2 because Hibari just like, he's too much. Like it took a lot for me not to be like, okay, Hibari, you're not number 1. Sorry. Like Suna is just on, like, he's awesome. I love him to death. And his just growth is like wonderful. But like Gokudera, I love his battle style. His battle style is like awesome to me. It's kind of like the type of thing that I think that I love because it always, like, his battle style always harkens back to the beginning, right? Like you never sort of lose a sense of Gokudera as a character that is like still kind of like, you know, ridiculous, still a little too, you know, still like seemingly too like intense at times and stuff like that, and like and everything. But like his battle style is like a reminder of like that gag stuff, of that, like, you know, resourcefulness that you kind of had to have before the dying will flames and everything like that. You know, I think that's why, like, that's one reason why I appreciate it. But the second reason is because it, like, he's a smart dude. Like, he has to use his intelligence to like figure out, you know, how to best combat like a particular individual with what he has. And I don't know, it just works. It just works.
If I compare now Gokudera, because he's like we can say a ranged fighter, tactician kind of a guy, you know. He has to, basically. And if I compare him to other manga series with same type of fighter, I think he's like number 1 by far. I personally don't like. I kind of like the melee kind of guy and everything, like to go in and everything.
I gotcha.
I prefer this type, but if I just compare like the range kind of stuff and their style to fight, I think maybe I did forget some characters, but I think Gokudera is like by far the best one. I guess. I agree.
Like, I'm trying to think of like other characters that are sort of like him, and for right now, he's definitely my number 1. Not right, and it's not just because of like the way that he battles, it's because I love his character. Like, his character makes me laugh, and I think he's one of the few characters in Reborn that continues to make me laugh and continues to, like, kind of add a bit of that old school Reborn in his battles. That's why I think that's why I like him so much in terms of like that crew, in terms of the crew. But I totally understand people that are like, oh, not my cup of tea, the style of battle. Like I totally understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's who did I have? Yeah, like I had Goku Dead as my number 3. But like who's your who's next as like number yeah. Okay, so I have Suna, Hibari, then Goku Dead. But like what do you like? Do you want to move on to the next character then?
Yeah, we can move on. So, from the story, which character appears next is Yamamoto.
Mm-hmm.
And I like him later as the samurai kind of guy, the sword fighter. I really enjoy that, especially with the water power and everything, and later the dog and the bird, and I really enjoy everything from there. But I kind of hated the start, not hated, but I disliked the start from I'm a baseball player, I need to protect my arm, to I am a samurai fighter, sword fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to hate on him. I really love this character. He's for me, it's like Tsuna, Hibari, Yamamoto, and now the hate / Lambo, but for different reasons.
So is that in that order? It's like
Suna, first
then
Tsuna, Hibari, and then Yamamoto.
Then Yamamoto. Oh, okay.
So I really love this guy, but I really hated this movement from I'm a baseball player to samurai fighter. Yeah. It's crazy. Oh damn.
But I think that's what's kind of funny. It's like it's really ridiculous. It's like I will say this, like baseball is an extremely baseball is really like about you need like core strength, arm strength, and everything like that, but like it's really about like precision and like spatial awareness and stuff like that. Like that, like you kind of have to be like preternaturally talented in that stuff, and of course you have to practice day and night and like until you get used to those like rhythms and everything. But like even still, right? Like there's like it's something similar to kind of like what like sword like swordsmen and stuff like that need. Like they need those same skills. So it almost makes sense that he would shift from one thing to the other. But it's so funny because it's like you're saying, it's like dude, like you
because it's like first he never does something, I guess, just like sword fighting style. It's just like later on, like the baseball bat turns to a sword. But for me, which is strange, like you don't use both the same way, That's like my kind of point, which is like, because like you're swinging the bat, but you're not swinging the sword like it. But I don't know. And later on, I have respect for him when around Mukuru was like when he just give up the baseball thing and just says, yeah, it's worth to hurt my arm to help a friend. I really respect him for that. And when he we're talking about Takeshi right now. So I really respect him for that, and that's kind of also a development there. And when he joins from later has his father teaches him in the techniques and everything in there. Everything is great, but yeah, I have still kind of problem like I told before.
Yeah, I agree. Like later on, he's right. Like I think his development is wonderful because like again, like you respect him because he seems like he seems goofy. He's a goofy like he doesn't take like he takes things like he takes like sports seriously, particularly baseball, very seriously, and like you understand that. But like outside of that, he's like very goofy and like just kind of nice and a clown kind of, and like aloof, I guess is the word, aloof. But like as the story progresses, you grow to love him, but two, because he's just such a awesome character. Like his style is great, like the way that he looks, like the cameo performance, all that stuff, the sword fighting, right? Like John Boy, was it John Boy that mentioned Yamamoto versus
Squalo,
Squalo, right? Like Squalo, like that was an awesome fight, and like that was probably the moment where I thought, you know what, I gotta give this man props, because he really worked to get to a level where he could fight this guy who was like a brilliant swordsman,
Yeah, exactly.
So
what I also like is like the calm like the water style. It's like he's like really calm and just focused and everything, and I don't know, it's like I somehow compare him to like Bruce Lee saying, calm like the water, but the water can flow and the water can crash, like I somehow always think of this thing when I'm thinking about Takeshi there.
Agree. No, yeah, because it's like he's another character that it's like, when the chips are down, like personality shift. It's like, okay, I gotta be serious here, and I gotta like, do the, it's kind of like athletes. Like, there's certain athletes that are like very like, they're funny, they know how to have a good time and stuff like that. But like, you're right, and like Yamamoto's like one of those people. Like, it's like, when he's when he's doing the thing that he's supposed to be doing, sort of like, whether it's like sports, and particularly baseball at the beginning, or it's like, the sword fighting and protecting Suna and everyone else and everything like that. It's like, yeah. It's like he can be goofy at times, he can be very nice and serene and everything like that, but then when it's like, when you got to shift, like, let's go. I like that. I agree.
It's kind of the opposite of Kokudera, I guess. Kokudera is like he becomes like the calm guy and the fierce guy, and Kokudera is like just running around and screaming and oh damn, it doesn't work. I need to figure out something new and just trying stuff, like all over the place. But Yamamoto is like the focused guy, like I turn into myself and calm down and release my power from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the style I like. That's why I have him at number 3.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So
next one in the story would be either Lambo or Hibari.
Yeah. I think.
But to join the family, it's basically Lambo.
Lambo, yeah.
I don't know which character appeared first, because I think Hibari was really early already in the series.
Yeah, I feel like Hibari definitely. I feel like definitely before Lambo, but Lambo, and yeah, I mean, Hibari. Wait, you want to talk about Lambo next, and then Hibari?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for me.
Let's talk about Lambo, because Lambo is like. I mean, people really don't like Lambo.
Okay,
but I love Lambo.
Yeah, I love him too. For me, he's like the Usopp or the Chopper from the series. It's like just a goofy ass random guy. But I love the technique or the fact that he has a 10-year bazooka. He just uses it to be like, he's like a small child and he just loses instantly and has nothing, I guess. But often by mistake in the beginning, just shot, and then 10 years later, and then later 20 years later,
Mm-hmm.
That's even that was so fucking funny when the 10-year Lambo was shot by mistake or to get to the 20-year-old version, like amazing comedy. For me, it is like, even so the situation is serious, but I really love the comedy there. And he's like, if I compare it to Usopp or Chopper, you know, they are like cute and funny and goofy and everything, and just funny characters. But for me, I guess I love the Lambo comedy more. You know, it's like just my cup of tea, I guess.
Yeah, and like and I think like one of the biggest reasons why I love him is because he's not like a nice baby.
Yeah, true.
Like it's like like you know,
he always tries to attack Reborn and kill him basically, and just like unproportion of power. You know, it's like just this weak as cow, and oh god, it's crazy.
You know, it's just like I really appreciate Lambo. Like and again, right? Like Lambo is like a character that maintains that comedy from the beginning, right? Like certain, like there are just like little things in certain characters. Like right for me, Gokudeta is like one of them who maintains that sort of like kind of lightheartedness in particular moments in that comedy. And like Lambo's another one, like just comedic gold. You know, like Lambo's always gonna give you a good laugh. And that's like the some of the best parts, like when he's trying, like when he's like genuinely like, all right, I'm gonna come after Reborn and like I'm take him out. I'm like like it's really funny. It's really funny.
But if I kind of think about it right now, is like if I compare it to Usopp, for example, you know.
Oh yeah,
also like goofy and running around, but Usopp is like he's still strong and he's doing stuff willingly. You know, he just shoots his plans lately and everything, and he does something still half willingly. But for Lambo, everything's a mistake and by chance. You know, everything. It's like also the ring. The ring is somewhere in his afro somewhere, and just by mistake, everything happens by mistake, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, he's just a funny character. Like he's hilarious and like, right? Like it's not, and he's not like what I love is like he really points out just how like weird like Suna's family is, right? Like because like not everybody in Suna's family is like about the family, right? It's like Hibari's not like that, Lambo's not like that, right? Like Gokudeta, Yamamoto, they're right because they generally are, you know, not cliche, but like, you know, like they care about like this group and then the dynamic and everything, like and the dynamic. But like when we look at like and Chrome obviously, but like when we look at like these two, like Hibari and Lambo, we're just like, yo, these characters are ridiculous. Like in terms of like being a part, like actually being like a part of this family. You know, in terms of like right when you think like when I think about like friends that I know that are Italian, and like family is like right huge. Like it is, it might right. It's probably the number one thing, at least for me. Like all the like the Italian like people that I know and friends that I have, like family is like massive. Like it's not something that you can just kind of like, you know, walk away from or forget about or whatever, or anything like that. You know, it's like it's extremely important. So like. It's like this manga takes that to like this ridiculous extreme where it's like even though Lambo is like terrible, right, and Hibari really just wants to beat the crap out of everybody, right? It's like they're still family, you know, and it's like it's extremely important. It's just it's a joke, but it's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, it's true. It's even so everyone has different definitions of how they see the family. You know, Lambo is just like playing around, and Hibari is just like, I want to beat the crap out of this guy and I want the enemies and everything. Like everybody has somehow kind of different view, I guess, about the family, but yeah, but still it's still family, you know. That's like you say. What I want to say also something about I forgot. Well, just move on. Let's next
It's
character.
all right. I mean, we can always come back to if you remember what you wanted to say.
Yeah, sure. So next one would be Hibari. Amazing.
Hibari. What? But I don't even know if there anything needs to be said. I mean, we're gonna say some things, but Hibari is very like self-explanatory.
Yeah, he's this. You have in every shonen you have this kind of guy. It's just like the strong. I just want to beat the crap out of people guy. You know, it's like really standard from character type, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing which surprised me was that the future Hibari, he was like the family guy. That he greeted them and guided them around, and he fought for them, you know, and with them and everything. Like the future Hibari was different. That kind of surprised me in a positive way. But I still like the young Hibari, like kind of I need to punish everyone style.
Yeah. Hold on. Someone's saying Arcobaleno and CEDEF after Guardians. What do we want to do? Do we want to have like a part 2 stream where we talk about like those two things? Because like I know it's late where you are. So I don't want the stream to go sort of any longer than it has to. I think that might be a good idea. Like if we sort of keep those two, because we could talk. I think we could talk all day about those two. Like the Arcobaleno are like awesome. I love them. They're like probably one of my favorite groups in all of like just manga. I think period. Like they're so distinct, and it's such a neat idea. But back to the Guardians, like the Hibari, like yeah. And I think the thing that I love about Hibari is like that when you see him fight, like he's one of those characters that exudes like confidence, like he makes you believe that he can win. Yeah. Like for me, like there are a lot of other characters where I'm like, you know, it's like Vegeta's kind of like the archetype. So it's kind of right, and but Vegeta, like I never believe that he's gonna win.
Yeah, true. Oh god damn, yeah, it's true. 100%.
You know? Oh, and then maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do that next week. Next Saturday, we can hold that conversation.
Sure.
So just so Laris and Wolf knows, like we can have that conversation will be next Saturday, maybe a bit earlier next Saturday, like instead of 5 p.m. 3 p.m.
Yeah, we can. We can keep it now. This stream to whole series and the tone and the Guardians, and we will get into the other stuff for next week then.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I guess Hibari for character, everything is like, yeah, like you said, it's a standard kind of character in every kind of shonen, but Hibari is like the type to make you believe that he really wins and he beats the shit out of people, and not like Vegeta. So okay, next one. We have next one is, I guess, Ryohei?
Yeah, I think so. Like, yeah, Ryohei.
For popularity kind, if I have like popularity kind of.
Oh, popularity. Ranking, he's like
the last one. Yeah. I think he's cool. I like the boxing kind of style and the Kamiya forma and the kangaroo and everything, and he's like what also for the series whole. Every Guardian has like his kind of type, you know, and I think every character. Like everyone has like the Hibari has the clouds, Lambo has the thunder and everything. Everyone has kind of its element, you know, and every character really fits this element. And for Ryohei, I just think he's like really fitting his type. He's like the sun, always full of energy, always like whatever it is, he's just like all out, 120% go, you know, this kind of type. And I really enjoy this character, but in just here in Reborn, to compare with all the other characters, he's just boring. From coolness factor and popularity kind of view, you know. And that's how I see him. Like
Yeah.
he really fits into his type of character, and I really enjoy it. But yeah, he's just like bottom tier, I guess.
And it's sad because I think like he works. I think he works really well in the beginning, right? Like he works in that comedy, like like lighthearted kind of like
the
tone.
Full energy guy in the comedy is just like a really strong weapon for comedy,
Yeah, and then like when it gets like way more serious and like then and especially right because we lose those pockets of slice of life, right? Like that we see in like My Hero Academia, right? Academia, right? We see that there, and that's what makes it so great. And that's why like when characters aren't there for a while, it's okay, because we know that we're gonna get those pockets like where we see these students again, we're gonna see Ida again, and we're gonna see all these other characters again. But like with Reborn, we don't really get that, and that's why like Ryohei he suffers like so much as a result. He's just like he's a fighter, but it's like everyone, like almost every important character in a battle shonen is a fighter. So it's like he's not particularly special.
He's not standing out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess that's a better description. He's not boring is maybe too strong of a saying.
No, I mean I agree. I think like
he's just not standing out from the rest.
Yeah. He does like, and it's sad. It's like he works. Like I actually really liked him in at the beginning, and like I thought he fit in really well. And because he's what you call it, Kyoko,
yeah.
Right, like that's her big brother, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like it's funny, like it's interesting. I like to see that dynamic. As soon as like, oh, let me not show any feelings about, like it's just really funny. And then like it just dies out.
Yeah. Too bad, but
yeah.
Can't
but
say
yeah.
So.
But he next.
We had Tsuna, Gokujira, Yamamoto, Ryohei, Hibari, Lambo, and then the seventh and last one is Mokuro/Chrome.
So
do you want to start, or should I start?
No, I mean, this one's interesting because I think like
it's tricky.
Yeah, because I feel like the dynamic could have been really, really interesting, but it kind of teetered off. Like it started off kind of like pretty interestingly and strong, and then it just kind of teetered off. Like Chrome, to me, doesn't get the development that I feel like she deserved. And again, I think that has a lot to do with, well, what were you going to say?
I kind of feel like she doesn't have any development. No?
Yeah. No, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, it's like, there's no, like because she could have, but
yeah, I think the problem there is just that Chrome and Mokuro, they just like, swap places, I guess. Not swap, but they are like alternatively. You have them Chrome fighting, and then Mokuro shows up. Either way, even if it's illusion or whatever, in kind of way he just shows up, and then you have Chrome again, and so it's always alternatively one of them, and I think both somehow suffer from development, like from no development disease, I guess.
Agreed.
I really, really like Mokuro's powers, the spear, illusions, everything. I really, really enjoy it. And all the fights where Mokuro is in especially when he's on the good side, he's fighting, I really enjoy them. I really enjoy the fights. But yeah, like it's same again, because of the missing pockets in between, the character suffers a lot, or both characters suffer a lot.
Yeah, and it's like and I think what also gets me is like they could have, like they didn't give that Chrome just doesn't get enough at all, and it's like I feel like that combination, like that decision to put them together like that, it's almost unfair to Chrome, you know, because it's like why introduce her and then say that she needs Makoto because he is using his powers to keep her alive. And then like not give her any development. Like it's like, yo, if she's alive, like she's like, oh, I get to live now. I can do all these things, da da da. And we don't even see that. It's just like it makes me kind of mad actually. I think a little bit, little annoyed. Yeah.
It's kind of I think this like interesting idea to start somehow when just the beginning, you know, we have Mukuro as the bad guy from the first real fighting arc, and they lock him up as a bad guy again because he also broke out of prison somehow, and they lock him up. But if they want to put him inside a family, they need a replacement somehow, and there at this point I really like Chrome, and I think it's like really great dynamic. But you cannot be fair to one character without punishing the other one. And what they either way, because now we have like Chrome fighting and everything, and then when she reaches the limit, somehow Mokuro shows up, you know. That's kind of the main theme, I guess. And we don't have any development from Mokuro because he's never there until Chrome needs help, I guess. And Chrome never pushes beyond her limits and like goes crazy somehow. And Chrome is lacking for the end game, I guess, and Mokuro is lacking the rest of stuff, you know? Like
agreed.
Yeah, and I think that at the point where we get Chrome, it's like really interesting. But I think you could have done like just keep Chrome, and then have later a Mokuro arc where he just breaks out again, or just he appears. You know, something more for Mokuro where you both give like a special arc or a special fight or a situation, whatever, where you give both of them a lot of development. But for the other arcs, like where it's not really that important that Mokuro's there, for Faria, for example, or just keep Chrome, I guess. I don't know. That's like my idea where it could have been better, but yeah, I'm also no expert, I guess.
No. I mean, I think it's a good idea. And again, right? It's just like those pockets like are so necessary. Like we we needed to see like Chrome have some sort of life, like maybe in school. You know, we need like just a few chapters. It didn't need to be anything like super intense. It needed to be like, you know, 20 chapters of school life and then on to the next arc. It could have just been like, you know, 5 chapters of like, okay, we're doing this stuff.
Or for Mokuro himself, I guess the type of character who's not there and just shows up and somehow saves the day. He fit this type of character really fits on Mokuro. But it doesn't fit on Chrome, even so they are kind of doing it with her because she's never around somehow. No, she's not like integrated in family because she's like really as a timid girl, I guess, and kind of back row kind of character. She should be like, they should be like opposites, you know, like where Chrome is like more integrated in family and doing her best and whatever, and you know, really show her, and then Mokuro, the type of character who fits really well, the character who just shows up to save the day. Yeah, he can just show up then and then just do his thing, you know. That would kind of together be better than now also. But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to say, but it's the same again. It's like they don't stand out character-wise. They stand out power-wise, like really crazy. I really love that stuff, but character-wise, it's like really weak again.
Yeah. I think everyone in terms of like the core like Guardians.
Yeah, that's everyone.
Yeah, that was good. I think generally we're pretty similar. It's like Suna, Hibari.
Yeah, then we had like Yamamoto Lambo for me and
no. Yeah. Then and I think we swapped. No, we swapped Yamamoto and Gokudera, I feel like, because I had and then Lambo was, still awesome. And I think that's pretty good. And I think that like it goes to show you just kind of like how, the writing, like the character writing is really important, and just like, it's like a mixture of like character writing, but also like character writing preferences, right, of the reader, and how well do you do like the shonen, like battle shonen tropes, like for certain things.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool beans. All right. I think we should end here just because.
Yeah, we arrived at the point where we can end the discussion very well. I guess we had like 1 hour 50 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah. We've been streaming for a while. But yeah, I mean, like, again, like we can do right. We'll of course discuss like a few things in terms of like the makeup. I'll try to be I'll just be better about like sticking to the topic and stuff like that. So we'll keep in mind like the first thing we should probably talk about are the maybe we'll first start to talk about the maybe the arcs, like what's our favorite arc. We'll start with arcs, right, to start the conversation, then immediately move to like ranking Arco Baleno. If you want to do that, and then CEDF, and maybe even whatchamacallit, like Xanxus's like group and stuff like that. We
could basically go through all the arcs and just have like the enemy family of this arc to have like a ranking of popularity, I guess, and then just from arc to arc and just throw in what we like and what we don't like and which is favorite, I guess.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so we'll figure it out. We'll definitely figure it out before Saturday.
Definitely. But I need to catch up a lot more. That's what I learned today. I need to read Reborn again.
Yeah, I might do this. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be reading a whole bunch of other manga this week, but I mean, I did, like, I looked through a few things. Like, I just needed to make sure that I knew, like, the general, like, makeup of the, like, families and the, and certain characters' names and stuff like that. But the arcs, like I said, like, again, like, after, like, the hyper dying will mode is, like, introduced, it's pretty, like, the arcs are pretty straightforward for the most part in terms of just, like, oh, here's, this thing happened. Now they got to go fight this, this group. And this was the, shocking turn of event in this arc or whatever. So that stuff, like, it was generally easy to remember. It was generally easy to remember because I had, like, read those manga chapters so many times, and, like, because there were so many moments that I had reread. Partly because of the art, because the art was so phenomenal.
Sure.
So yeah, okay. I think we'll figure out what exactly we're going to talk about in terms of, like, the arcs and stuff. But we're definitely going to get to the Arco Baleno and definitely going to get to the CEDEF.
Okay, then thank you again for inviting. And yeah.
No problem.
Questions going.
No problem. Yeah, definitely. So
Yu Hakusho in 2 weeks again, because I still need to give you the chapter numbers and you too for the next one.
Yeah, and it's good because it'll give us enough time to just kind of like say, okay, let's get back to let's talk about this and let's discuss this. I need to add this video to I'm gonna make a new playlist. So I'm gonna have two playlists on. I'm gonna have two playlists on my channel. What I want to do is eventually, like, whenever you're up for it, we'll have a video on your channel, a video on my channel. We might do, like, swaps, like, whenever you're down for that.
Yeah, like I told you, I'm trying to think of a new thing.
Okay.
I have like basic ideas, and what is not quite ready yet. But I will definitely tell you about it. And yeah, so but
cool.
we'll find our way. I don't know.
Yeah.
At least as long as we're discussing stuff, it's always great.
Cool.
For me, it doesn't matter where.
Yep. All right. Awesome. So again, this was I'm gonna change the title obviously because now this is part 1 of the Katekyo Hitman Reborn, the live stream discussion featuring Nakamanga. Okay, so next Saturday, all right, we're gonna continue this discussion. That's gonna be part 2, and that's gonna be at 3 p.m. just because time differences. Want to make sure that everybody can generally come to these streams and stuff like that. And yeah, this was an awesome stream. Like it was really great to sort of like go back through like that reborn greatness. Think about characters. I really love that, like the fact that we kind of had like similar rankings in terms of the characters and how we felt about them. And yeah, I can't wait to have that Arca Beleno discussion. All right, so I'm definitely gonna hype that up on Twitter all week. I'm just gonna say, hey, like if y'all read Reborn, have that Arca Beleno list ready. Like have it ready. All right, so I'm gonna contact as many people as I can that have read Reborn, and I want to hear how they rank those things, how they ranked them, how they ranked the actual Guardians. I like the Vongola family, the current Vongola family, and yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Yep. Okay, so I'm the Black Manga Critic, and I'm out.